the right calendar to do the right thing. Now, there was a group within the Essene community that did not practice sacrifice because they said, we have sacrificed ourselves to God, and therefore we do not need to kill any other animals. But they still followed they still followed the holy days. So the question is, what days do the holy days fall on? Prior to Hillel, the great rabbi, the Jewish calendar was a lunar-based calendar having about 354 days. Don't quote me on that, but I think I'm...
You're right. 354 days.
Okay. And so you have a year that's spinning slowly backwards. You have 365 and a quarter days, and you have a calendar that's about 10 and a quarter days lower than that. And so it doesn't take long before your harvest festivals, or the festivals that occur in that period of time, are occurring in midsummer. And nothing makes sense. You're still following the calendar, but the holy day, what it's actually for and when it actually was, is now spinning out of control. So Hillel came in and said, we're going to add another month here, and it's going to be placed from time to time, and I'll tell you how to do it, and it's going to kind of correct the days.
Adding another month?
Yeah.
To make up for the loss.
Right, to keep everything in check.
How would that work?
Well, they just calculate, see, when we add another day every 4 years, you would just wait so many years and add another month. Well, the Essenes didn't like that idea at all. They said that the calendar in itself was corrupt, and they went back to a calendar that was written in the books of Enoch and Jubilee. Now, let me digress just a second, but not very far. I know that in our Bible, we do not have Enoch and Jubilee, but you have to understand that the Old Testament and the Ethiopic Bible, one of the oldest Christian religions, does have those books. The Ethiopic Bible has the book of Jubilee in its Christian canon, and it has the book of Enoch in its Christian canon in the Old Testament. So, having said that, and telling you that Fifth Estate has the translations of the books of Enoch, and the Lost Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilee is in our library, in our catalog. And you can go look this up. Those books describe the exact precession of the sun through the heavens in a solar year, and those books are the books that they took their calendar from. And so every once in a while, they would add another week because everything in the Ethiopic calendar is set up for a week's time. So over a period of 4 years, you would have an extra day. They would wait until the time was right for you to add about a week, which if you think about it, you can do that in like a 12-year interval because you'll split it half in two. So they would add another week.
So their solar calendar is 364 days, not 354.
Correct.
In the lunar calendar.
That's correct. So their calendar stayed really very close, and when it varied, they would wait for it to vary enough to make sense to add another week, and then add a week, and then everything would be good for a very long time after that too.
So we're on a totally different cycle, really. The Jewish people are in a totally different cycle with the lunar calendar than the Essenes on a solar calendar.
That is absolutely correct.
So there must be some type of diffusion or confusion around what is really holy then with these dates.
Yes, exactly. And the Essene community went into the Dead Sea area, and they withdrew from what would be called the common Jewish society. And one of the contentions between the Essenes and the Sadducees and Pharisees were the holy days, and this could very well have given rise to the death of the teacher of righteousness in the arguments that they had about how to carry out their religious practice.
Very interesting. Wow. Why did they write the apocalyptic literature?
By the way, we're in the year 5770 in the Jewish calendar right now, and we'll go in Well, actually, we've already had the Jewish Rosh Hashanah.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so now it's 5771 as of Rosh Hashanah. Apocalyptic literature is exactly what I was describing before. Apocalyptic literature usually starts around the raising of the Second Temple and goes to about 200 AD. You have it before then, but it really starts proliferating at that time. And it is exactly what I described. You have a people who really are convinced that they are the chosen people of God. But the Romans come in and just wipe them out. They spank them. And they're sitting there looking at their smoldering temple, and they're wondering, are we wrong about being chosen? Nah. We must be wrong about how we're carrying it out. And the idea is that God will come back and he will vindicate them. And they will be the chosen people, which means the rest of us aren't chosen. We are disposable. So the war will happen. And if you believe in this good versus bad, which, let me digress again and tell you, Judaism in itself did not have a clear evil influence the way that we do today of the universe being divided in half until Zoroastrianism. When Zoroastrianism, a religion in Iran that was around the 6th century BC, their belief is that there are two deities, and one's purely evil and one's purely good, and they're doing battle, and the earth is their pearl. When the influence of that got into Judaism, we started seeing this kind of what we call a dualism. Now, before then, Satan was the accuser. He was going around like a little fly in everybody's face. And God would say, well, you can test that one or leave that one alone. And he was just a common angel, which is another discussion. If you're monotheistic, an angel is a safeguard. But
do you believe in angels? Can we digress? Do you believe in angels?
We can digress. We're digressing all over the place.
I know. I'm sure you like the concept of angels, but do you accept them?
Do I accept them? Yeah, I think I do accept them. Probably not the way that people think, that they're floating around here with nice little wings. But I believe that the Book of Enoch is probably correct. We had something called the Watchers.
Right.
And that those Watchers were assigned to teach and to record our progression. And we can actually go into were the Watchers really like UFOs, or were they extraterrestrials or whatever. But the Watchers, if they were angels, they were spiritual creatures sent here to do a work. And in that aspect, I absolutely believe that there are angels.
Got it. Okay, so what is the essence of what you're saying about that? Why the apocalyptic literature was written?
The apocalyptic literature, let's call it projections and novels of what the authors believed would happen when the Messiah, the anointed one, the warrior, came back, or God himself came back on the scene and wiped out the opposition of your group and all the evil people were those other than yourself, and raised your people and your nation up, proving that they are indeed the chosen people. So keep in mind that apocalyptic actually means to reveal something that's hidden.
Wow, because it doesn't have that connotation, though.
It doesn't anymore. But Revelation, the book of Revelation,
right.
It says Revelations, but it's only one revelation. It's the revelation of Jesus Christ. The book Revelation actually takes its name from this same root word, which is to reveal.
Do you think the book of Revelations is correct?
I think it is a metaphor.
Okay.
I do not think in any way, shape, or form that you can, in good conscience, interpret Revelation as being literal, or interpret it from a literal standpoint. And that's another thing, Kim. You keep on bringing these things up, and I go, yeah, that's right. That's called the or pesher, I should say, pesher way of interpreting things.